This is an opinion piece based on the Iran nuclear deal and America's best course of action as it pertains to that deal. My name is Andrew Lowry. I am a second-year student at Bloomsburg University of Pennsylvania. I am undeclared with a focus in political science and creative writing. My interest in this topic stems from an interest in foreign affairs as they relate to problem states such as North Korea, Iran, and Iraq. But what separates Iran is two things. First, its nuclear capabilities, and second, its willingness to negotiate with the outside world, something that North Korea has not shown thus far. The Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, known more commonly as the Iran nuclear deal, was adopted on October 18, 2015. It was signed onto by Germany, Iran, and the 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council, the 5 members being the United States, the United Kingdom, France, Russia, and China. From Iran's perspective, they gained benefits in the financial and the economic sector. One of the main parts of the deal is that it lifted sanctions that the UN itself imposed. The sanctions stem from the revelation in 2002 that there were 2 nuclear facilities inside of Tehran. Starting in 2006 with Resolution 1696, the UN, followed by several more resolutions, began to impose sanctions on Iran, including arms embargoes, the freezing of international assets, and unprecedented cargo inspections. Furthermore, it allows Iran to continue its nuclear program, but keeps it on a civilian level. Not only is Iran benefited, but also the other signatories of the deal. What it does for the United Nations is it allows for greater national security by providing oversight and transparency into the Iran nuclear program. It does this mainly through the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, by allowing members of the IAEA to inspect the facilities and make sure they're up to code and up to par and stay on the path set out by the deal. Trump himself has recently disavowed the deal. His main opposition and his main points come from the belief that the lifting of the sanctions was too lenient. He regards Iran as a rogue and a fanatical regime, and he doesn't believe that they should have received these benefits. He also opposes the non-permanence of the oversight and the hindrances to Iran's nuclear program. He believes they should be completely permanent and that they should never be able to develop nuclear weapons. I also believe that the poor relations, especially dating back to 1979, with Iran has greatly affected Trump's view on the issue. The effect of Trump's disavowalment, especially if the entire deal goes under because of it, could be very negative, especially on diplomacy from the US. Take, for example, the situation in North Korea. The best way to go about it is by diplomacy with China, so that China can better put into effect sanctions in North Korea and be able to receive benefits from the US for doing so. If we actually managed to come up with a solution that works for both the US and China, that would be one thing. But now we also have a situation where China can say, well, you didn't keep your word when dealing with Iran, so why would you keep your word now? So if Trump disavows this further and the deal goes under because of the US, it can really hurt the diplomatic legitimacy of the US. Furthermore, it also hurts national security. It puts us on poor terms with worse terms with Iran. And it also lets them, for lack of a better term, legally back out of the deal themselves, so they can produce nuclear weapons sooner rather than later. The best course of action to follow is the original one, the one set out by the Obama administration when the deal itself was signed. The reason, quite simply, is because it aids all the nations involved. It aids Iran because it boosts their economy and it allows them to enter more into the world market. Furthermore, it helps the United Nations because it allows them to see into the Iranian nuclear program, which aids in the national security of the Western nations. Furthermore, it helps humanitarian efforts in Iran because with a higher standard of living, and it increases exposure to the West for the civilians in the Middle East. Finally, it globalizes Iran, and from my perspective, globalization is a good thing, especially in the US, which is one of the forerunners of globalization. Especially in the fossil fuel sector of the economy, Iran has large reserves of both national gas and oil, which can now be entered into the world market, which benefits all actors and all signatories of the deal.